This is episode 60 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Jay Connor. Jay is a leading expert on private lending, marketing, and business development. He's been buying and selling houses since 2003. He's rehabbed over 450 houses, been involved in well more than 50 million in transactions, and his book, Where to Get the Money Now. You're going to want to stick around till the end because we're going to talk private money a lot, but that book's going to be available at the end. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for inviting me to come along to talk about what I'm most passionate about, and that's private money.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. But before we even get to private money, when you were younger, before 18, did you have any designs on real estate? Or if not, when did it come to you?
Yeah, I was actually raised in a family that was all about helping people own a home, specifically affordable housing. My father, Wallace Connor, believe it or not, he's still living, 90 years old and still,
awesome.
Still negotiating deals. He's got 3 developments under negotiation right now at 90 years old. But anyway, he at one time had the largest retailing company of manufactured houses, mobile homes, a lot of people called them, in the nation. So I grew up around, my dad helping people own a home. In fact, when I was 11 years old, he put me in his acceptance corporation in the summertime, and I was picking up the phone, calling and verifying people's jobs and asking landlords how they paid their rent. So, yeah, I grew up around the manufactured housing industry.
When did you start to take all the things that you learned for your dad and then put them into your own practice?
Yeah, it was in 2003. So my wife, Carol Joy, and we've been full-time investing in real estate, single-family houses. Since 2003, we've done commercial as well. I built a shopping center from the ground up. That prints nicely today with it being free and clear of any debt. And I've done condominium developments, but for the most part, since 2003, our focus has been on single-family houses. We've rehabbed, renovated now over 475 single-family houses, all right here in our local market.
Wow.
We do 2 to 3 houses a month right now. Average profit is $78,000 per house, per flip that we do. And that's
a really good margin at scale for 2 or 3 months to still be at 78 per flip. I have a lot of friends who they get up into those numbers of flips, but their margins are tighter, like 30. And then, one thing goes wrong and you wish you never took that project.
Sure. And of course, that's an average. I mean, I'm scheduled to close on a house day after tomorrow. The selling price on that house is $687,500. Well, the profit just on that house is $175,000.
Yeah.
But I'll have others that come in at 40 and 50. So when it all washes down to the $78,000 profit. And here's part of the story as well. This is in a very small market. We're here in Eastern North Carolina. My total population of the market that we invest in is only 40,000 people. And so the moral of that story is you don't have to be investing in a big market to really make some significant income.
Let's get into how you started with private money. Was it because in the beginning you're just trying to figure out how am I going to buy as many of these houses as I want?
Well, Jonathan, when Carol Joy and I started in this business in 2003, back during those days, I didn't know anything about private money, never heard of private money. And I thought the only way to fund your deals was to go to the local bank and borrow money from the bank. That's all I knew. Well, for goodness sakes, if you're listening to this show, don't start this business the way I did. Be sure and get you a coach or somebody to work with that knows what they're doing. I mean, I never heard of the creative deals, Jonathan. I didn't know back then about buying subject to an existing note or buying on a wrap or buying with seller financing and all that stuff. I was just using my mobile home experience that, you got wholesale money, you got, floor plan money that you got from the bank or line of credit. So that's what I did. The first 6 years, I relied on the local bank to fund our deals. And Back during that time, if you could fog a mirror and you could breathe, you could get an unsecured line of
Yeah,
credit, an unsecured line of credit. Yeah, I
that's
started
crazy.
out with a $250,000 unsecured line of credit back in 2003. Well, that was how I operated those first 6 years, 2003 to 2009. And then, Jonathan, something happened in January of 2009. I was sitting at this desk, and believe it or not, can you believe we still have handsets and cords in North
I like it.
Carolina?
Yeah, and I think that's just a regular strong business philosophy for people who become experts in the field. There's no reason to tout a program or anything. People will find it once they've gotten all of this, information from you, whether paid or not. They know they're going to come to you. And I think that's just a good thing for especially new investors. You can't go try to help and have your hand out because it doesn't look right. So you have to help first, add value first, and then wait, build a relationship. With relationships come money if you do it the right way.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. And so then they're on board. I mean, do they have, retirement funds and you're going to introduce them to the company that you recommend that does self-directed IRAs? I've got 47 private lenders, individuals right now that's funding our deals, and they're from $30,000 each to over $1 million each. And so we teach it. And then when you have a deal to fund, here's the exact script. Here's the script. I pick up the phone, I call them up, have a little chit chat, and here's exactly what I say. And let's say, Jonathan, you're one of my private lenders. I say, Jonathan, I got great news. I can now put your money to work. And let's say you've already told me you got $150,000 just investment capital that you want to put to work. So I call you up, Jonathan, I got great news. I can now put your $150,000 to work for you. I have a house in Newport, North Carolina, adjacent here to Morgan City, with an after-repaired value of $200,000. The funding required for the deal is your $150,000. Closing is next Tuesday, so you'll need to have your funds wired to my real estate attorney by next Monday. I'm going to have my attorney email you the wiring instructions. End of conversation. If I ask you, do you want to fund the deal? That's the most stupid question in the world I could ask you. Of course you want to fund the deal. And here's why I know you want to fund the deal. Number one, you've been waiting for the phone call. I told you I can probably put your money to work within a month or so. And particularly if you have moved your retirement funds over to a self-directed IRA company and your money is sitting there, it's not earning you anything. And the reason you moved it over there is because I suggested that's what you do with your retirement funds. The money's sitting there. If you don't fund my deal, you're not going to make any money because it's just sitting there in the retirement funds. So in answer to your question, what did I do first? Got my mindset straight. We're not chasing, begging. We're not asking. We're teaching. We're helping. I got my program that I'm teaching, right? I know my program, right? And so where do I go and what kind of conversation do I have with potential private lenders? Well, in answer to your question, where did my first one come from? Church, right? Carol Joy and I are very, very involved in our local church. We've been members since 1988. Trust and credibility is off the chart, right? Off the chart there. So where do I recommend you start in your warm market? People that you already have a warm and fuzzy relationship with. I can remember it like it was yesterday, Jonathan. I went to Bible study on a Wednesday night at 7:30 here at the Church of Christ in Morehead City. Walked in the door. I knew who I wanted to speak with. His name was Wayne. I walked in the foyer, and there's two different types of approaches when talking with a potential private lender that is in your warm market. We have what's called the direct approach. Then we have what's called the indirect approach. So the way the indirect approach works, which is what my conversation was about with Wayne, the indirect approach employs the use of a very, very powerful phrase. And that phrase is, I need your help. I need your help. And I'm not going to be asking for money. So here's how it played out. I walked in the foyer, Wednesday night Bible study. I walked up to Wayne. We said hello. I said, Wayne, I've got something I'd like to visit with you about confidentially after church. Can we visit for a few minutes? He said, well, sure, Brother Jay. So we got together. after church, after Bible study, went down to the nursery, closed the door, and here's exactly what I said to Wayne. I said, Wayne, you know everybody in this town. And he did. He was the original Zenith television dealer in Morehead City. Now, if you don't know what the Zenith television dealer was, that means that you only remember Walmart. The Zenith television dealer was before Walmart came to town. That's where you went to buy your TVs and actually back in those days, they repaired TVs. So Wayne knew everybody in town. And I said, Wayne, you know everybody in this town. I said, you're involved in the Rotary Club. I said, I need your help. I have now opened up my real estate investing business by referral only to people that I trust. And here's what I need your help with, Wayne. I'm now paying insane high rates of return on our deals and for people that invest with us. So when you run across somebody that is complaining about the stupid low CD rates at the bank and how volatile the stock market is, would you refer them to me and I'll tell them about my program? Well, Wayne sat there for a second. And what do you think Wayne said? Wayne said, well, now, Brother Jay, what you got in mind, right? And I said, well, are you saying you might be interested? He said, well, we ain't getting nothing into CDs. What kind of rate are you paying? And I said, well, Wayne, it really sort of depends on the deal. You know, what sounds high to you? And he says, well, we're only getting, back in that day, it was like 3.5% in the CD. We're getting like 3.5% in the CD. He says, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6%. I said, well, Wayne, I can't pay you 5 or 6%, but I can pay you 8%. He said, put me down for $250,000, right? And so I went to his and his wife's house the next day. I went over the whole program, and they became my, first $250,000 lender. By the way, they always have more than they tell you. So very quickly, they went to 500,000 and 600,000. So, that's it. I just asked for his help to spread the word that I'm now opened up my real estate investing business. That's the indirect approach. And Wayne did refer a lot of private lenders to us over the years. Unfortunately, both he and his wife have passed away now, but they were great private lenders, and they referred a lot of other people as well. And I'll tell you real quick, Jonathan, one of my favorite ways to also start a conversation with a potential private lender, someone you got some kind of relationship with, I love did you know questions. I love did you know questions. So one of my favorite did you know questions, I might be over at Smithfield's, fried chicken and pork barbecue joint, eating lunch with a friend of mine. And I might say something like this: Jonathan, did you know there's a way people can earn unlimited money per year tax-free? Well, of course, you being my friend, you're not going to know the answer to that question. You being the guru that you are, Jonathan, you know the answer to the question, but most people don't know. Well, no, how in the world can people make tax-free income? And then I said, well, have you ever heard of self-directed IRA companies? In all likelihood, they're going to say no. Well, now I can have a conversation about, well, if someone's got retirement funds that are in the form of a Roth IRA, and they put it in a self-directed IRA company, all the profits and returns are on after-tax dollars. I said, in fact, did you know there's a way you can use $100 and turn it into $20,000? And I'll tell that story. So I love did you know questions to start a conversation.